Hey everyone, how you doing? Okay, so today we've got a slightly different kind of video. I mean, for a start, you can see I'm outside and it's snowing. I wasn't expecting this because it snows like once every couple of years, and I probably won't stay outside for the whole video because like the whole camera's getting covered in snow. But the whole point of today's video is slightly different. It's about the experience of having an all-on-4 treatment, okay? Because there's a lot of decisions that you have to make, and I can't personally tell you what it's like to go through these decisions because I've never had it done myself. Although I've helped a lot of people doing it, it's very different, you know, from the perspective which I have. Now recently, the reason I'm outside actually is I've had my whole patio done, and you can't really see it because it's all covered in snow right now, but I'll try and supplement this video with a couple of photos. And I went through a lot of the same kind of emotions as some of my patients go through during this whole process. And I thought this was a weird video to make, but then I actually started asking a couple of my patients and just saying, hey look, did you go through this kind of same stuff? And a lot of them agreed, so I think you'll find it useful. The first thing is, I don't know anything about laying a patio, right, and doing all this outside work. It's an expensive job, okay, so it takes a lot of time to think about, hang on, can I justify the cost? Okay, I know it's something that I need to do. I mean, when we moved into this house, it was about 2 years ago, we know it needs a bit of work done. But the total cost of this project was about £18,000, and if we think a typical all-on-4 usually costs about 15, it's kind of in the same ballpark of cost, okay? And then there's an element of risk. What if I get a builder who is who's not trustworthy, right? And I don't know what I'm looking for. In the same way that my patients don't know who's a good dentist, who's experienced, who's done this like a million times and can do it in their sleep, and who's not going to cut corners. And I think I found a good one. I was lucky. And the truth is, this is the same thing that I told my builder actually, is I don't know where someone is going to cut corners. And it's the words that he used which really convinced me. He was always talking about doing things properly and not cutting corners. And he has this policy that if there is ever a problem with any of the work that he's done, he'll just come out and fix it. Okay, which takes a lot of integrity, I thought, and this is kind of the way that I work clinically. It's really a case that when I do a job for someone, it's like a promise to get them to wherever they think they need to be. Let's clean the snowflakes off the lens. Yeah, so yeah, I found that reassuring about the builder, and it takes a leap of trust, doesn't it, to do something like this. Now, the big difference is when you're looking at any kind of medicine, you know, whether you're having an operation on your leg, on your heart, on your teeth, whatever it is, it's a part of you. It's irreversible, and there are risks depending. You know, if you're having heart surgery, I'm sure there's like life and death risks. There's much bigger risks on having heart surgery than there is on having your teeth done. So that element of risk is very different. Like if I had a really bad builder, I could get them to redo it, and all I've lost is money. Like, granted, it's a lot of money, but still, I've still got my health. And I think this is one of the big things why people don't get stuff done dentally is this element of risk. Anyway, we got a project started, you know, and essentially the way all these things work is you sell yourself on the dream. You sell yourself on what it's actually going to look like. You know, I'm thinking, oh yeah, my kids can play outside in the patio. It's going to be loads of fun for the whole family and stuff like that. Okay, so you sell yourself that dream, and for smiles, you sell yourself. You know, you'll be able to eat whatever you want. You don't have to worry about loose dentures. You can, every time you look in the mirror, it looks really good. And that's what you have to have in mind, because the process, it doesn't get you there. Even teeth in a day doesn't get you there in a day. It gets you a long way there in a day, but the truth is, once you start the project, complications can happen. And here they did. You know, we found something under the ground, and it cost another £600 to fix that. And the same is true with dental treatment. Once you start, sometimes you find stuff which you weren't expecting for or budgeting for, but in order to get the job done properly, you need to address it there and then. So that was another kind of likeness. Now the biggest thing was, this whole project took about a month. Once you pull the trigger and you've given a bit of money and you're like, okay, look, let's do this. Once you've decided in your head that you want to do this, you want it done there and then, okay? And that month it wasn't terrible. I mean, I was at work, but the outside looked terrible. There was mud everywhere. The kids couldn't come outside. Every time I walked in, parked my car and walked inside, there was mud all inside. There's all this inconvenience, and it is a big inconvenience, and it happens with dentistry as well, because when you're in temporaries, when my patients are in temporaries, the vast majority of them are fine, but sometimes temporaries break and you end up coming back 2, 3, 4 times to have temporaries fixed. And the problem with that is, it is just the inconvenience, and it's always a front tooth that's going to break, and it's always going to happen on a Friday night, and it's just generally pretty awkward. All right, and again, that's another thing that people don't normally talk about when they're talking about these all-on-4 treatments. And the way to get over it is to just keep imagining your end goal, keep selling yourself on that dream. But now, we're pretty much there. We're pretty much at the end of this project here, and when our patients get to the end, looking back, you went through all this hardship, say, all this inconvenience and stuff like that. But it's usually worth it. Almost every single one of my patients, no matter what they have, whether it's just a couple of implants and a denture, or for all on 4, everyone's happy, right? And that's the end goal for us, is not to sell them the biggest treatment, but is to ensure that the end result has had that impact on their life that they were imagining when they sold themselves on the dream. And did they sell themselves on the right aspects? Have we got to that level? And that's really what life-changing dentistry is all about. Okay, so I'm going to go inside now. I hope you found the video useful, as always. And if you've got any questions and comments, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try and get back to everyone.